Hello students, this is our second lecture and it is on Galilean invariance. In the previous lecture, we discussed about the Galilean transformation equation for position, velocity and acceleration. And we obtained these results that the position vector in a moving frame can be related to position vector observed from the frame in rest minus the relative velocity Vf multiplied by t, and the velocity observed from the moving frame, which we named as the S dash frame, is given as V vector minus Vf vector. And for acceleration, we obtained the relation that acceleration of the particle in S dash frame, that is A dash, is equals to acceleration observed from the rest frame. So these are the Galilean transformation equation for position, velocity and acceleration. This we have derived in the previous lecture. Now we'll talk about the invariance. That means if a quantity or a law, if is valid in a rest frame of reference, say S frame of reference, this must remain exactly same as far as the quantity is concerned, and the law also remain valid in the moving frame of reference. So let us first of all talk about the physical quantities which remains invariant when you transform from one frame of reference to another frame of reference. These are mass, m, time, t, or it may be even the time interval of an event, delta t. Then we have the total energy, or you can say the total mechanical energy, that also remains constant when we go from one frame of reference to another frame of reference. Looking at this particular relation, we can say that the acceleration of the particle, that is A, also remain invariant when we move from the moving frame to frame in rest or vice versa. If I multiply by mass both the sides, I will get a relation m A dash vector is equals to m A vector. If in a particular event the mass remains constant with time, then this quantity is nothing but is a force. That means the force acting on the particle as observed from the S dash frame of reference is exactly equal to the force as seen by the observer from the frame in rest. So these are some of the physical quantities. They remain invariant when we move from one frame of reference to another frame of reference. Now in the light of this, let us quickly see what happens to the laws of motion. As you all know, laws of motion there are three main laws. First law, which is the law of inertia, it says that if in a given condition the total force acting on the body is 0, then the velocity of the body remains constant both in magnitude as well as in direction, or acceleration of the particle remains 0. It means if a body is experiencing either no force or many forces which balance each other, then the velocity of the body remains as it is. That means if a moving body is there, it keeps on moving with the same speed in the same direction and it's not having any acceleration. Or if the particle is initially in rest, will remain in rest. So this is basically the concept of inertia. Now it's very important to understand, since we have this quantity which remains invariant going from from S dash frame to S frame. So if the total force is 0 in S frame, the total force also is 0 in the S dash frame. So this particular law will remain as it is when we move from rest frame to moving frame or moving frame to rest frame, provided that they are inertial frame. That means there is no acceleration of the frame itself, or the velocity of the frame remains constant. Now, if you see the second law of motion, which is associated with the force, if there is a net force acting on the body, then we say that the force which is acting on the body is time derivative of the linear momentum. Now it's very interesting to know that the momentum depends on the velocity, and you can expand this as mv vector. Further differentiating with time will give you m dv by dt plus v dm by dt. If you have a situation where the mass remains constant, as we are talking in the earlier case also, then this quantity will go to 0, because time derivative is 0, and we are left with F is equals to mass dv by dt, that is nothing but the acceleration. And since force is invariant, acceleration is invariant, mass remains same both in S frame as well as in S dash frame. So we can say if you use the second law of motion in S frame, you can use exactly in the same format in the moving frame of reference, but under certain circumstances. This will discuss that what are those conditions in which these laws are not applicable at the end. But let's first of all investigate the third law. Third law of motion. It is basically the action-reaction law. If I have a body 1 which has done some kind of an action force on the body 2, the body 2 will do the reactionary force Fr vector on the body 1, and according to this law, the action force is equal and opposite to the reaction force. Once again, since force is invariant, that means if I go from one frame, that is a rest frame, to moving frame, force remains as it is. So whether it is a force of action or reaction, they also remain invariant. If the same situation is observed from the moving frame of reference, provided that it is an inertial frame, then I can use exactly the same format there. That means even the third law of motion is also invariant in shifting, going from one frame of reference to another frame when they are inertial frames. Now, with this we come to one of the very important law, that is the law of conservation of linear momentum. The law of conservation of linear momentum states that under the condition when the total force on the body is 0, the total linear momentum of the system remains conserved or constant. Let's take a very simple case. That's the case of a collision. I have a body 1 and body 2. Body 1 has a mass m1 and body 2 has a mass m2. They are moving as observed from the S frame. They have the velocity u1 vector, u2 vector respectively. They collide, and after collision m1 start moving with velocity v1 vector and m2 start moving with velocity v2 vector. Now in this case, since they collide, so if one is doing some action force on two, the two will do the reaction force on one. If I consider this as one my system, then the total force in this case is always 0. So under such circumstances, the law states that if you sum up the initial momentums, that is m1 u1 for the particle 1 and m2 u2 for particle 2, they must remain same even after the collision, that is m1 v1 vector and m2 v2 vector. But this all is in S frame. When I say S frame, it means the frame in rest position relative to a frame which is S dash, which is supposed to be moving with velocity vf vector, that is the relative velocity. And if the same thing is observed, say from the S dash frame, can I have the similar situation there? Let's check. Now in S dash frame, which is supposed to be moving with respect to S frame with the velocity vf vector, this S dash frame, if anybody is observing from S dash frame, he will say the velocity of the particle in the beginning is u1 dash vector and u2 dash vector respectively, and after collision it is v1 dash vector and v2 dash vector respectively. According to the S dash frame, the total momentum initially is m1 u1 dash vector plus m2 u2 dash vector, and the total momentum finally is m1 v1 vector plus v1 dash m2 v2 dash vector. Let's transform these velocities, which are the initial velocities, from S frame to S dash frame using the relation that is v dash is equals to v vector minus vf vector. I am reminding once again, the vf vector is relative velocity of the S dash frame with respect to S frame. Let's do it for this initial momentum first of all. The total initial momentum, that is P vector initial, is equals to m1 u1 vector minus vf vector plus m2 u2 vector minus vf vector. And similarly, the final momentum is equals to m1 v1 vector minus vf vector plus m2 v2 vector minus vf vector. From the relation, you can just simply write this as m1 u1 vector plus m2 u2 vector plus, there are two terms, one m1 vf vector and m2 vf vector, that comes in the bracket as m1 vf vector minus m2 vf vector. So this is the initial momentum and can be written even as m1 u1 vector plus m2 u2 vector minus m1 plus m2 vf vector. Let me call this equation, which was in S frame, as equation number 1 and this as my equation number 2. If I similarly take the final momentum, again I have my final momentum as m1 v1 vector plus m2 v2 vector minus of m1 plus m2 vf vector. Let me say this equation is equation number 3. Now if I add both on the left hand side and as well as on the right hand side, the term minus m1 m2 vf to the equation 1 and compare these terms second and third, I can immediately say, yes, the initial momentum, that was the total momentum initial in S dash string, is perfectly equal to the total momentum final in the S dash string, because the terms then will match the total momentum initially in S dash string and total momentum finally in S dash string. They, according to this equation, is matching perfectly. You can just take it yourself. Just simply add to the first term m1 u1 vector plus m2 u2 vector a term minus m1 plus m2 vf vector, and this equation number 1 will change to m1 v1 vector plus m2 v2 vector minus m1 plus m2 vf vector. So they are nothing but, this is equation 2, this is equation 3, and they are equal. That means the momentum initially and finally they are equal. It means the law of conservation of momentum, if it is applicable in S frame of reference, it is also applicable in the S dash frame of reference. Now, investigate whether kinetic energy, gravitational potential energy, heat energy, and law of conservation of energy these, which are Galilean invariant and which are not. Let's start with the kinetic energy. The expression for kinetic energy is half m v square, or you can preferably write this as half m v vector dot v vector. Since it involves velocity vector, and for velocity vector we have transformation equation as v vector minus vf vector. So definitely the velocity observed in the S dash string is different from the velocity observed in the S string. Therefore, the kinetic energy in the S dash frame is not equal to the kinetic energy observed in the S frame. So this is not the Galilean invariant. This varies when it's taken from S frame to S dash frame. Now let's come to the gravitational potential energy concept. For simplicity, we are taking that the height involved is very small as compared to the radius of Earth, and surface of Earth is taken as a reference point. This is my reference point. If I have a particle here, say of mass m, and you are talking about its gravitational potential energy at the height equals to h, which is very small as compared to the radius of Earth, I can write the expression for this as mgh. Now this involves three terms: mass, acceleration due to gravity, and the height from the reference point. Mass is Galilean invariant. This is assumption of Galilean transformation. Acceleration remains invariant. Even if it is the acceleration due to gravity, it is same. So these two terms are Galilean invariant. And we have to check what about the height. Let's say measured from the frame in rest so this is the point number 1 and this is the point number 2. This is the height h. So this point number 1 has a position vector r1 vector and this has a position vector r2 vector from the origin of the S frame. So the height as measured from the S frame is the modulus of r2 vector minus r1 vector. If I want to go from this position to this position, I have to travel this r1 vector in the opposite direction and r2 vector in the same direction. So that's why we have written this r2 minus r1. As far as the transformation equation is concerned, if you want to know the height in the S dash frame, this can be written as r2 dash vector minus r1 dash vector. And these r1 dash and r2 dash are the position vector of the same points 1 and 2 but observed from the moving frame. For moving frame, we have r dash vector given as r vector minus vf vector into t. T is the time for which we assume that our moving frame is traveling with the relative velocity vf, which remains constant because these two frames, they are inertial frames. So if I put for r2 and r1 using this equation, I can write h dash is equals to r2 minus vft minus of, for r1 dash it is r1 vector minus vft, and if you simplify this minus vft minus of minus makes it plus, plus vft will be out and I am left with only r2 vector minus r1 vector, which is nothing but is equals to h. So by this simple calculation we are able to show that the height measured from the moving frame and the height measured from the stationary frame, they are exactly equal. Therefore, potential energy under these circumstances is considered to be Galilean invariant. So potential energy is Galilean invariant, whereas kinetic energy is not the Galilean invariant. Further, it is assumed in the Galilean transformations that the heat energy, which is not the mechanical energy, this is a Galilean invariant, that the heat energy in S frame or heat energy measured from the moving frame are assumed to be Galilean invariant. With this basic understanding, now let's investigate the law of conservation of energy. Is it Galilean invariant or not? For this, what we are doing is, we are taking the same collision experiment as we have taken for the proof for the Galilean invariance of the law of conservation of linear momentum. I have two bodies, body 1 and body 2. Body 1 is moving with the velocity u1 vector, body 2 is moving with the velocity u2 vector. They collide, and after collision, the body 1 moves with the velocity v1 vector and body 2 is moving with the velocity v2 vector. If this collision is not elastic collision, then there is a release of some heat energy, sound energy, other forms of energy. Let me say collectively they are E. So this all parameters are taken in the S frame, and let's assume that law of conservation of energy is valid in S frame. What is the meaning of this? The meaning is half m1 u1 vector dot u1 vector is u1 square basically, half m2 u2 vector dot u2 vector is equals to half m1 v1 vector dot v1 vector plus half m2 v2 vector dot v2 vector plus e. This equation is valid. Let me say this equation is equation number 1. What about the initial energy possessed as seen from the S dash frame? So energy initially is equals to half m1 u1 dash dot u1 dash plus half m2 u2 vector dash dot u2 vector dash. Let me say this equation number 2. And finally, the energy is, total energy is rather, half m1 v1 vector dot v1 vector dash dash plus half m2 v2 dash dot v2 dash plus e dash. E dash is that collective heat energy, sound energy, other forms of energy which are released during the collision. It may be inelastic collision, but as it is assumed that these other forms, that heat energy, sound energy, all that they are Galilean invariant. Let me call this equation as equation 3 and equation 4. We assumed that law of conservation of energy is valid in S frame, and we have to check whether it is true for the S dash frame of reference. For this, we are using transformation equation for velocity, which is v dash vector is equals to v minus vf vector. V dash vector is the velocity vector observed from the S dash frame for the particle. This is the velocity observed from the S frame, and this is the relative velocity of the two frames. Here S dash frame is supposed to be the moving frame with the velocity vf vector. So if we use and rewrite these equations, we can write like this: E initial is equals to half m1. Using this for u1 dash, we can write this as u1 vector minus vf vector dot u1 vector minus vf vector plus half m2 u2 vector minus vf vector dot u2 vector minus vf vector. Let me say this is equation number 3 dash. It's a modified equation 3. It's nothing other than 2. This is equation number 2 dash. Because it's exactly the same equation, only thing is that I have used the Galilean transformation equation to rewrite this. If you try to simplify this, you can write as half m1 u1 with u1, u2 with u2. I am taking it separately. u1 vector dot u2 vector plus half m2 u2 vector dot u2 vector plus. Now the leftover terms are, this is vf u1 vf, because dot product has a property, even if you change the position, is not going to matter. So this will be m1 u1 vector dot vf vector plus, the half is not there because there are two terms of this type, is equals to half m1 Vf vector dot Vf vector plus N2 U2 vector dot Vf vector plus half N2 Vf vector dot Vf vector. I am deliberately putting it in the square bracket just for the purpose. We will see this later. So these terms are the additional terms we have. If I do the same for final total energy by again using the Galilean transformation equation, I can rewrite it like this: E final is equals to half m1 v1 vector minus vf vector dot with same v1 vector minus vf vector plus half m2 v2 vector minus vf vector dot with the same term, that is v2 vector minus vf vector, plus instead of putting E dash, now I am using the term E because this is Galilean invariant. Further multiplying and rewriting will give me E final is equals to half m1 v1 vector dot v1 vector plus half m2 v2 vector dot v2 vector plus not the additional terms. These terms are m1 with v1 vf v1 vector dot vf vector plus half m1 vf square or vf vector dot vf vector plus m2 v2 vector dot vf vector plus half m2 vf vector dot vf vector plus E. Now if you compare these terms with the term in this one, why I am saying so? Because half m1 u1 dot u2 half m2 u2 dot u2, according to the equation 1, this complete term is equal to this complete term, which I am now putting in bracket. This is half plus, this is plus E with this one, this E here. And if you compare these two terms, they are exactly present here. So if I compare these two equations, which I call equation 2 and equation 3 dash, equation 2 dash and equation 3 dash, I am left with only terms which are like this: m1 u1 vector dot vf plus m2 u2 vector dot vf from equation 2 dash, and on this side I have m1 v1 vector dot vf plus m2 v2 vector dot vf. If I can show that this term and this term, they are exactly equal, I can prove that the law of conservation of energy even in the S dash frame is going to be the same. And it's very simple to do it. Because from the law of conservation of linear momentum, I can always write m1 u1 vector plus m2 u2 vector is equals to m1 v1 vector plus m2 v2 vector. Let's take the dot product of left hand side as well as right hand side with the Vf vector. That what I am doing is I am taking this term and multiplying Vf vector as a scalar product here, and same I am doing here. If I expand, I can get m1 u1 vector dot Vf vector plus m2 u2 vector dot Vf vector is exactly equal to m1 v1 vector dot Vf vector plus m2 v2 vector dot Vf vector. Look, the left hand side is this term and right hand side is this term. So it means these two terms are equal. As these two terms are equal and these terms are common, as we have marked here, these terms are common, we can say entirely the energy, total energy initial is exactly equal to the total energy final in S dash frame. So this proves that if we take the law of conservation of energy valid in S frame, the law remains as it is. Look, kinetic energy is not Galilean invariant. Potential energy is Galilean invariant. Heat energy, sound energy, together they are taken as Galilean invariant. This is an assumption. But the law of conservation of energy, which is the basic and general law, remains invariant even if I move from S frame to S dash frame. So let's see collectively what are our Galilean invariants and what are those quantities or laws for which we have to have the transformation equation. I am summing up what we have learnt in this lecture. As far as Galilean invariants are concerned, mass, time interval, heat energy, sound energy, and even sound energy, all these are taken as Galilean invariant. Then we have height, length. If length is invariant, like height, area, volume, these quantities are also invariant. Apart from these quantities, we have seen the laws of motion, law of conservation of linear momentum, law of conservation of energy, these laws are also Galilean invariant. However, for some of the quantities you have to have the transformation equation. For example, the velocity, position vector, kinetic energy, and few more. But these quantities are Galilean invariants or invariant. Even the laws are Galilean invariant. Thank you.